Asha, what's her last name?
Walfall. Walfall.
Wallfall.
Okay, and now we're live on YouTube and recording. And welcome. My name is Paul Sugarman, and this is an Instant Shakespeare Company Zoom reading that David Cedar has put together for his birthday. It's a special getting together for reading of Foggerty'sFairy by William S. Gilbert.
David's nose is in his script, and he didn't even see us all applauding.
I did.
He felt it.
And it is Fogarty, just in case there's any more questions about that. Hello. I don't like to start without the person being here. I mean, well, no, she comes
Well,
out.
we can't.
Comes in fairly soon, so we
Yeah.
there.
Only the second line.
Today's program will start with a brief intermission.
Yes. Well, you could start introducing the people we've got, and
Oh, yes,
possibly by the time you get through to the end, she will have appeared.
All right. My name is David Cedar. I'm play mastering this piece, and I am reading the role of Mr. Talbot, the father. Larry?
I'm sorry. I'm Lawrence Asher. I'll be doing Delia Smith and Blog.
Asher?
Asher Susswine. I'll be doing Uncle Fogel, Dr. Lobb, and a couple of other small parts.
Yeah.
Walker and something
Walker.
that rhymes with Walker. I can't remember.
But I want
Thank
you
you.
to sort of play those as if it's Uncle Fogel rather than separate characters.
Yes, exactly.
Here's Natasha.
Everyone.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you for coming.
Welcome.
Okay,
Nice to meet you.
we're in the process of introducing the cast.
Okay.
Deborah?
Oh, hi. Deborah Whitfield. I'm playing Aunt Bogle, I guess it is.
Yes.
Tati and Dr. Dobb.
Now, Natasha, since you're there, I'm reading
Hi.
just across the screen here.
Sure, I'm Natasha, and can you remind me who I'm going to be reading for?
Jenny Talbot, who is the bride in this thing.
Okay, perfect.
And we have, where's Ben? Ben, you there?
Bennett Pology, I'll be Walkinshaw.
And Christina.
Christina Osterling reading the fairy Rebecca.
Okay, did I miss anybody? I don't think so.
Missed me.
Oh gosh.
you.
Only the title character, Drew.
I'm Drew Bolander, and I'll be reading Frederick Fogarty.
And I am Paula Hosa reading Malvina DeVere and Lottie.
All right, we're going to start with Act 1. The drawing room in Talbot's house on the morning of his daughter's marriage to Fogarty. A large bow window leads into a garden. Talbot is discovered. The following guests are disposed around the room. Uncle Fogel, Aunt Bogle, Walker and Walker. They're all in extremely low spirits, except Talbot. All wear favors, wedding favors.
Ah.
Oh, dear me, dear me.
What's the matter with you all? Do try and be cheerful. If my only daughter is going to be married to a penniless young apothecary, there's no occasion to treat her wedding as though it were a funeral. Pray remember that this is, after all, a festive occasion.
My dear John, I wouldn't for the world say a word to cast a gloom over these rejoicings. But I can't help thinking that with her attractions, Jenny might have looked a little higher. You understand, I don't say it, I confine myself to thinking it.
You see, John, you know so little of Mr. Fogarty.
I knew him when he was a little boy of 9. He was a very clean little boy of 9.
However, it's no use crying over spilt milk.
Very true. What's done can't be helped.
And then what's underdone can't be helped.
Thank you, Tommy. It's very kind and thoughtful of you to make that joke.
I'll make another presently.
Thank you. I'm sure you will. I won't forget it. God bless you, Uncle.
After all, Mr. Fogarty may be a very respectable young man.
Equally, of course, he may not. But let us not anticipate disaster.
What was I to do? Jenny has somehow got a ridiculous idea into her head that she could never love any man who had ever loved before, and she is weak enough to believe that she has found this monstrosity in Fogarty. I've told her all sorts of anecdotes to his disparagement, not exactly true ones, because I couldn't find out any, but the sort of anecdotes that I dare say are true if one only knew. It's a painful thing, gentlemen, for a father to have to admit that my undutiful girl won't believe me.
I lost my place. It's a sad thing when a girl won't believe her own father. If she won't believe her own father, whose father will she believe?
Thank you, Uncle, thank you. It was just the same with poor, broken-hearted Walkinshaw. She fell in love with Walkinshaw because she thought he had never loved before, but she found out from Fogarty that Walkinshaw had already been engaged to somebody, so that settled him. Then she fell in love with Fogarty. We did all we could to fix him with an affair of some kind, but in vain. It's true we did rake up an old boyish flirtation of his, but he was rather young at the time, only 9. It's not likely to have been serious.
I don't know. A boy who flirts at 9 will flirt at 90. That's my experience.
9 is a critical age. A man's character is often formed at 9.
But Jenny's coming down. She's in the highest possible spirits, and I don't want her to be depressed. Those who feel they really can't bear up had better perhaps go and shed some tears in the garden. And those who remain, please remember that you've been asked in order to contribute to the general hilarity for goodness sake, don't forget that this is really and truly a festive occasion. Come, let us all smile.
Oh dear. Oh dear, what shall I do?
There, Jenny's at it now. Bless my heart, she'll have a red nose at the church.
Oh, there, don't cry. Don't cry.
It's sure to be all right. Don't cry.
Now, what is it, and why are you not dressed? What are you crying for?
Oh, Papa, I'm not to be married this morning, and
she's to be married this morning, and she's crying about it. Isn't that just like a woman? And whose fault is it, I should like to know?
Oh, Papa, I'm not crying because I'm going to be married to Frederick, but I've got to be at church in half an hour, and my dress hasn't come home yet. Oh dear.
Dress not come home?
No, it was tied under my arm, so I sent it back, but it was to have come home this evening, and I've nothing to wear.
Don't cry, child. I've my own wedding dress at home. It was made in 1820. I've never worn it but once. I'll lend it to you.
Oh, that'll be the very thing.
No, you're too fat. I mean, I'm too thin. Oh dear, what shall I do?
Come, I'll send for it. It'll be here directly. Pick her up, my dears, pick her up, and above all things, don't let her have a red nose at the church. Powder it, my dears, powder it. This is a festive occasion, and it absolutely must be powdered.
There, it's sure to arrive in time.
I'm sure I hope it will, if it's only to spite the ill-natured people who are always running Mr. Fogarty down.
I don't care what they say. He has one virtue that would sanctify him in my eyes, through his hours were legion. He at least has never loved before.
Well, it's possible, dear, of course.
Possible. I have it on my very best authority. He told me so himself. He ought to know, I suppose.
He ought to, dear, of course.
Oh, would you have me doubt the man I love? Would you have me love the man I doubt? Oh, no. Love doubts not. Doubt loves not. He says he has never loved, and it is enough.
Well, I'm sure, I hope he hasn't, for if she found out too late that he had deceived her, what would she do?
What would I do? I don't know. It would be something with a knife in it, and there would be blood. I don't know whose, perhaps his, perhaps mine. Oh, I dare not think of it. I dare not think of it.
There. Oh, it's wonderful how a tastefully selected vegetable sets one off. Jenny, my own. Why not dressed yet? What's the matter?
I say I dare not think of it.
Why not?
There would be blood, wouldn't there?
If you dressed yourself? No, I don't see why there should. There, go put on your things.
Yours or mine?
Yours, of course. What do you mean?
I mean, if I found out that you had ever loved another.
Oh, of course, in that case, mine. I would shed it myself.
But you never have.
I? Never.
This flirtation, when you were 9?
It was nothing. She made eyes at me in church.
And what did you do?
I fled.
In horror?
In horror. It was so bold of her, I was appalled.
My delicate-minded Frederick. Oh, he has never loved till now.
Jenny, we are to be married today. Do you think you might want to go?
So, dear. It is our wedding day.
Under the circumstances, I think.
Know how it is. It's very strange and unaccountable and unwomanly, but although my dress don't fit, I feel almost happy.
I'm glad you are happy, Jenny.
I've always said that my love should only be given to one who had never loved before. I will not have a heart at second hand. My husband must be one whose torch of love was lit by me alone, and you are such a one, are you not?
Yes. Many a night and oft I've lain awake gazing at the moon and wondering what manner of thing this love might be which I had heard so much, this strange and irrational desire to spend a lifetime with an adored object. And when I renewed my old acquaintance with you, the sun broke on my darkness and all seemed clear as summer noon.
Oh, my darling.
Do you think you might again?
Yes, dear, I think so.
No, better not, better not.
In my eyes, a man who is once loved is a defaced postage stamp. Interesting. Perhaps to the collector, but to all the others, a thing of naught.
Such as poor Walkinshaw, for example?
Such as poor Mr. Walkinshaw. I do not think I ever loved him, but he interested me because I believed that I was the first that had ever kindled the fire of love within his heart. But to my horror and disgust, before we had been engaged a fortnight, I learnt from you that he had already loved another.
Yeah, I felt it to be my duty to not to conceal from you a fact so material to your happiness, my poor child.
Poor then, but poor no longer, rich in the devotion of a heart that throbs for me and me alone.
No, don't you think I might venture once more to... No, we can wait. We can wait.
Mr. Walkinshaw.
No, don't mind me. Proceed with your fondlings. Time was when I should not have witnessed them, but I must get used to it. It's good practice. Go on.
It's your own fault, Mr. Walkinshaw. You led me to believe that yours was a virgin heart.
Too bad, Walkinshaw, too bad.
Foggerty, I submit to Miss Talbot's reproaches, for I respect and sympathize with the feelings that give them birth. But from you I will not stand it. Take care, sir. Take care.
Wouldn't you rather retire, Mr. Walkinshaw? It must pain you to see us like this.
No, I must learn to bear it. Now, go on, but we'll do it by degrees. Put your arm around her waist, Foggerty. There, look. Let me get used to that first.
If you had been all that you represented yourself to be, you would today have stood in Frederick's place, and he would very likely have been your best man.
And bad would have been the best. Miss Talbot, it is true that I had already loved, but whom? A woman who lived on actions for breach of promise, who had already brought 18 such actions and who was seeking every opportunity to make me the defendant in the 19th. Already oblige me by allowing Miss Talbot to rest her head on your shoulder.
Do you mean it?
Oh, it is hard to bear. Hard to bear. Now kiss her. Oh!
Mr. Walkinshaw, you deliberately deceived me, and I can never believe you again.
I'm surprised at you, Walkinshaw. I am indeed.
Miss Talbot, I admit that I deceived you. Still, if you will so far forget the past as to extend credence to me when I tell you that on the faith and honor of a broken-hearted gentleman that your wedding dress has just arrived, you will pour one drop of balm into a wound that has hitherto yawned balmless.
My wedding dress arrived and you brought it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Walkinshaw, there's so much that is very nice about you. Why did you deceive me once? But for that, I might even now be. But no, it is better as it is.
Ah, poor Walkinshaw.
Cheat! Imposter! Snake!
Not at all, Walkinshaw. I've merely profited by your example.
Oh, this is hard. This is bitterly hard. However, you're not married yet. That's one comfort.
No, but I shall be in half an hour, and that's another.
Don't be too sure. I have news for you. Delia Spiff, your late fiancée, arrived from Melbourne yesterday.
Are you in earnest?
Look at that.
Black Ball Line, Red Knight, Specie, passengers on board, Miss Delia Spiff. Oh, what's to be done? She'll come here, of course, and the Talbots are her only living relatives. Why, she may arrive at any moment, and if she should...
It would be a just retribution. You trifled with her, sir.
Oh, trifled with her? Nonsense, you can't trifle with an old woman in a green umbrella. Besides, I was in Melbourne, starving, penniless. There, under my very nose, so to speak, was a comic old dowager absolutely rolling in banknotes and sound securities. Rolling in them, sir, under my very nose. What was I to do?
A man of proper feeling would have looked the other way.
Oh, I had the banknotes before my eyes. They dazzled me. I didn't see the dowager, or at least not clearly, until some weeks after I proposed to her. As soon as my eyes got used to the glare of the money, the dowager dawned upon me.
How did she look?
Fearful. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, indeed. You couldn't do it. I didn't like to tell her so I implied it gently and delicately. In fact, I bolted and came here to England. I found Jenny, the friend of my childhood, young and cheerful. She was engaged to you, but nevertheless she was quite cheerful. I felt it to be my duty to let her know how basely you had deceived her. You were dismissed, and I stepped into your shoes in the assumed character of a gentleman who had never loved before, and in half an hour I am to marry her.
Supposing always that Spiff don't turn up.
Walkinshaw, she shan't turn up. I won't give her time to turn up. I'll be off at once. What are we waiting for? Why don't they come? Why don't we start? What an extraordinary thing it is. What an extraordinary thing it is that a woman cannot be punctual. Jenny, are you ready? What, 5 minutes? It's an unreasonable time. Can't you come as you are? Impossible. Oh, ridiculous. What is the reason of this preposterous delay? Why does everything go wrong today? Why have you got confounded green waistcoat on and a ridiculous red tie?
Don't! I'm dressed for a wedding.
Dressed for a wedding? You're dressed for a lobster salad. Oh, you get out. You're always in the way.
This is what it is to play with women's hearts. But a terrible revenge will be mine. The wedding breakfast has yet to be eaten, and I supply the wine.
Upon my soul, I believe I'm the unluckiest dog breathing. I did think I was safe this time. She'll come here, of course, and then... Oh, why don't the girl come? Jenny, do come along. Never mind the hooks and eyes. You can do them in the carriage. What? Couldn't think of such a thing? Isn't that a woman all over? Dress, dress, dress. Always dressing, never done with it. Oh, 11:30. We shan't get to church for an hour, and if Delia should turn up... Oh, it's fearful. It's more than fearful. It's appalling. It's a fix that nothing short of a fairy godmother could get me out of. Why haven't I a fairy godmother? People used to have them. You had only to invite them in at your christening, and they'd do anything for you. Now, I call that gratitude. But fairy godmothers are out of fashion now, and gratitude went out with them. Still, if there is such a thing as a guardian angel watching over me, here is an opportunity to show that she's what she's worth. That may never occur again.
Slow music. The wall opens and the fairy Rebecca is discovered standing in front of a revolving star. He does not see her, but he hears the slow music.
Oh, there's that confounded German band outside with the clarinet out of tune as usual.
Mr. Fogarty!
Ah, hey! Hello, beg your pardon, but...
You don't know me?
That is... well, no, I don't know you.
I'm the fairy Rebecca.
The fairy Rebecca?
Yes. Oh, but don't be frightened. I'm a good fairy.
Yes. Now, you be off. We've got nothing for you. Now, come away, go.
You don't believe me?
No, I don't believe you.
Upon my word, I'm speaking the truth. I really am a fairy. I am indeed. Didn't you see me appear?
No?
I came through that wall. Right through it.
Can you disappear through it?
Certainly.
Then the sooner you do it, the better.
I think you're extremely unkind. I came simply because I thought I might be of use to you. But if you don't want me...
Oh, stop! Are you by any chance in earnest?
Of course I'm in earnest. But it's the old story. Nobody believes in us nowadays. Time was when we mixed ourselves up, as a matter of course, in human business. We were a power then. Oh, and people were afraid of us. Whenever an important christening took place, we were invited as a matter of course. And if any one of us was neglected, oh, it was bad for the baby. Ah, those were the days.
Oh, yes, but that was some time ago. We don't associate ladies of your calling with frock coats and trousers.
Exactly. And so our existence is reduced to a mere question of tailoring. If tights and trunks came in again, I suppose we should come in again with them.
I trust not. I trust not.
Why not?
Because they are not usually worn by ladies.
Come into fashion with them. One has to pick one's words in speaking to you. You are so matter-of-fact.
Well, it's a matter-of-fact age.
Not particularly. Every age is a matter-of-fact to those who live in it. Romance died the day before yesterday. Today will be romantic. The day after tomorrow.
Yes. Perhaps if you looked in again the day after tomorrow...
I'm speaking metaphorically. Don't be ridiculous. Now then, business. I'm your tutelary fairy.
My what?
Your tutelary fairy. Your guardian genius. I hover over you like this. Do you know what I mean?
Am I to understand that you are always hovering over me when I don't know it?
Certainly.
Oh.
What's the matter?
Nothing. It's embarrassing, that's all. I wish I'd known before. Has this hovering been going on long?
About 18 months. Ever since your engagement to Delia Spiff. The fact is, I was sorry to see a fine young man throwing himself away on a ridiculous old woman. So I said to myself, that young man's making a fool of himself. I'll keep my eye on that young man.
Oh, you know about Delia Spiff?
To be sure. We all know about it. It's a standing joke up in Fairyland.
Is it? It's a rather serious matter down here, but... Can I offer you anything?
Thank you. I'll take a glass of sherry and a biscuit. Now then, what's the difficulty?
Oh, it's about that woman. She's the bane of my life. I'm on the point of being married to a most delightful girl, and I'm expecting Spiff to turn up every moment and claim me.
I thought as much. Well, what do you want me to do? I can't strangle Delia, you know, because I'm a good fairy.
Oh, that's a pity.
Yes, but I know a bad fairy who'd do it at once if I asked her.
No. I don't want to hurt Delia, but if I could manage to marry her offhand to somebody, like Walkinshaw, for instance.
No, it would be too hard on Walkinshaw. You see, I'm a good fairy. The bad fairy I was speaking about would do it with pleasure if I asked her, but it would take time, and I suppose time is precious.
Oh, it is indeed. It's very annoying, for that woman's been the curse of my existence. All my misfortunes have had their origin in my engagement to her, and if I could blot her out of my existence, I should be the happiest man alive.
Blot her out of your existence. Well, I think I could do that for you.
You could?
Yes, there's no difficulty at all about that.
Then I'll do it.
No, don't be in a hurry. Think about what you're about. If you blot Delia Spiff out of your career, you blot out at the same time all the consequences that came of having known her.
But my good girl, that's exactly what I want to do.
Take care. The consequences of an act are often much more numerous and important than people have any idea of. Take your own case. You come from a good family, and you are proud of it.
Yeah, we are the Lancashire Foggertys.
No doubt. You didn't do much towards it, and I don't see what you've got to be proud of. But still, proud you are. Now, you would never have been born if your father had never met your mother.
I suppose not.
And your father met your mother in this wise. Some 36 years ago, as he was walking down Regent Street, his attentions were directed to a sculptor's shop in which was a remarkable monument to a Colonel Culpeper, who died of a cold in going into the Ganges to rescue a favourite dog which had fallen into it. An old schoolfellow passed by and, touching your father on the shoulder, asked him to dinner. Your father went and at that dinner met your mother, whom he eventually married, and that's how you came about.
I see. If my father hadn't had that invitation to dinner, I should never have been born.
No doubt. But your existence is primarily due to a much more remote cause. If your father hadn't loitered opposite the sculptor's shop, his schoolfellow would never have met him. If Colonel Culpeper hadn't died, your father would never have stopped to look at his monument. Colonel Culpeper's favourite dog hadn't ever tumbled into the Ganges, the colonel would never have caught the cold that led to his death. And if that favourite dog's father had never met that favourite dog's mother, then the favourite dog would never have been born, neither would you. And yet you're proud of your origin.
I see. I never looked at it in that light. It's humiliating for a Lancashire Fogarty.
It is humiliating. Well, now you see where you are, and you can do as you like. Here is a small vial and a box of prepared pills. When you wish to eliminate a factor from your social equation, all you have to do is express your wish and swallow this draught. And when you wish to see me, all you have to do is express your wish and swallow a pill. But take my advice. Don't use it except in the last extremity. Remember, if you obliterate an act and its consequences, it's impossible to say what incidences may or may not have taken their place. You are pretty nearly sure to find yourself in an entirely altered state of circumstances.
I understand, but that's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
There's a question I should like to ask. This is not a pantomime.
That's the man, no.
It won't end in my being changed into a Harlequin and Jenny into a Columbine or any nonsense of that sort, will it? Because if it does,
You need not alarm yourself. This is not a pantomime, but a very graceful and poetical fairy extravaganza. Rather dull, perhaps, but quite refined, and containing nothing whatever that could shock the sensibilities of the most fastidious.
That's quite sufficient. You understand the nature of my objection.
Perfectly.
It wouldn't be dignified.
I quite understand.
A Lancashire Fogarty jumping through a window.
Oh, it wouldn't do at all. Well, I must be off now, for I've got to dance second in a ballet in a fairy glen in half an hour. Remember, when you eliminate an act from your career, all its consequences, direct and indirect, are eliminated with it. So, take my advice and don't use it except in a last emergency. Where's my vampire? Oh, I see. Thank you. All right, go.
Trapdoor opens, she steps into it, it closes, and she disappears. forensic music.
So, I've a guardian spirit, have I? I'm a sort of human ward in fairy chancery, and wherever I go and whatever I do, there's a supernatural lady always at hand, popping in upon me when I least expect it and looking down upon me when I haven't any idea of it. It's complimentary. It's even gratifying. But it's distinctly embarrassing. I'll defy any man to feel unconstrained and at ease when he knows that there's an invisible young woman at his elbow all day long. And as for this file, how do I know that my position will be improved if I use it? I don't like these unknown incidents that she alludes to. There's such a thing as getting out of a frying pan and into a fire. By Jove, when I think of the difficulties and dangers with which I am surrounded, I feel uncommonly inclined to begin at the beginning and wish that Colonel Culpepper's favourite dog's father had remained a bachelor to the end of his days. Oh, there you are at last. Now let's be off.
And haven't you a word to say about my dress?
Hey, what? Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, now let's come.
Isn't it lovely? Isn't it quite too charming?
And look at the lace. It's Venetian point. And the bouquet. And do look at the wreath. It's absolutely heavenly.
Damn the wreath.
Oh dear, did you hear what he said?
Oh, here you are at last.
Yes, already. Now then, what's the matter now? You've got your dress, and what more do you want?
Oh, Papa, it's Frederick.
What's he done? Don't he like the dress?
Yes, he likes the dress, but he damned the wreath.
Fogarty, did you seriously damn the wreath?
Well, I damned it, but not seriously. It was a figure of speech.
Now, there, you hear? It was a figure of speech. It was a poetical metaphor. A man may be allowed to indulge in a poetical metaphor on his wedding day.
If a man may not be allowed to indulge in a poetical metaphor on his own wedding day, on whose wedding day may he? I cannot refrain, even at this supreme moment, from...
Stop! I know what you're going to say. I am utterly unworthy of her. With her money, she might have done much better, and no doubt there is a good deal against me if you all knew it. That's what you are going to say, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, it
That
is.
sort of thing.
Well, then I quite agree with you. It's carried unanimously. Now, let the subject drop.
Jenny, take my arm. Uncle Fogel, offer your arm to Aunt Bogle. Walker, take Lottie. Walker, take Tottie. Fogarty, you follow with Walkinshaw, as a matter of course. Now, my dear friends, can you manage to get up a smile? This is not a funeral.
Very true. Let us all smile.
Walkinshaw, if you don't smile, you shall go home.
Oh, Mr. Walkinshaw, pray smile for my sake.
For your sake. For your sake, I will.
That's it. Capital. And whatever you do, mind you keep that up. Now then, away we go. Who's this?
Oh, Delia Spiff, I knew it. I'm a ruined man.
Why, I declare it's Aunt Delia.
Aunt Delia.
Yes, Aunt Spiff arrived at Victoria Docks this morning from Melbourne.
Why, how fortunate. You're just in time for my wedding.
Your wedding? Whom are you going to marry?
Mr. Frederick Fogarty.
Oh, indeed.
Delighted, I'm sure.
Oh, you are a pretty fellow, you are.
Rick is generally admired.
So I've caught you at last, have I?
What do you mean?
That young man belongs to me.
What?
Here it is, in black and white. He admires me. I can't imagine what he saw in me to admire, but he saw something. I attracted him. He grew attentive. I fascinated him. He grew sentimental. I was coy. He proposed to me. I accepted him. He grew indifferent. I sang to him. He wearied of me. I danced before him. He fled.
Oh, Fogarty, for shame. Too bad, too bad.
You needn't smile anymore at present, gentlemen.
Frederick, what does this mean?
I believe she refers to me. It's nothing. It's a figure of speech. A mere commonly employed by elderly Australian ladies in renewing a platonic acquaintance.
You hear? It's a figure of speech, a flighted metaphor, nothing more.
If an elderly Australian lady may not be allowed to indulge in a flight of metaphor on renewing a platonic acquaintance, who may?
To be sure. Thank you, Uncle. It's all right. You can smile again.
Stop nonsense. There ain't much metaphor about me. I'm a plain fact.
A hideous fact.
Aunt Delia, am I to understand that Mr. Frederick Fogarty offered marriage to you?
Why, to be sure you are. Why do you suppose he offered?
It is well. I renounce him. You can go home, everybody. There will be no wedding today. Oh, Papa, to think that even he has loved before.
Oh, you needn't smile now, gentlemen.
Jenny, I haven't. I didn't. It was a platonic engagement.
A platonic fiddlestick.
Miss Spiff, if you will not insist on your bond, you will be merciful. You will not dash the jug of happiness from my lips. You have a great heart, and so you will not do these things.
Won't I? Come to the altar.
My good woman.
Woman yourself. Come to joy.
Now, pray do be reasonable. Pray do let's have a little common sense.
You shall. You want it. Harkye, sir. You are in trade.
I am. Wholesale.
So am I. Wholesale. What's your stock?
Mine's cheese.
Mine's charms. It's a small business. There ain't many of them, and what there are ain't much to speak of. The stock's damaged, isn't it?
Well, as for that, I can hardly be so ungallant as to admit to a lady's face that...
Such a nonsense. Is it damaged or is it not? Come, out with it. Yes or no?
Well, if you put it that way, it is damaged.
Not the sort of goods that one can get off one's hands every day of the week.
Oh, I don't say that. I can quite understand, for instance, that a snug elderly gentleman with a comfortable independence would...
Will you have me?
God bless me, no.
Of course you wouldn't. And you're right. If I wouldn't if I were you. If I had a bid from that ridiculous young man, I'd knock myself down to him and he fled.
In all cases of dispute, the goods to be put up again and knocked down to the highest bidder.
But there ain't any dispute. Here it is in black and white. I, Frederick Fogarty, agree to marry you, dear Spiff, and so on. I had to stand.
Jenny, once more save me from this catastrophe. After all, you are rich, and it's a mere question of compensation.
Away, sir, I regard you with horror. You've deceived a trusting young heart.
And a suspicious old one.
Go, Viper. We expected something of this sort.
Come to the altar. Come to joy.
This is most exasperating on a festive occasion. Confound you, why didn't you turn up before, Mum? That wedding dress wasn't made under £20 and it's wasted. Then there's the breakfast and the carriages and a new pair of trousers bought expressly for the occasion.
Don't distress yourself. I'll take them off your hands.
They're not on my hands, they're on my legs, and I won't have them taken off on any account.
Now, sir, are you ready?
Talbot, won't you say a word for me? Uncle Fogel, Aunt Bogle, Lottie, Tottie, Walker,
Not a word, sir. We felt sure of this all along, but from motives of delicacy, we didn't say so. We confined ourselves to thinking it.
We consider that Jenny had had a most fortunate escape.
And we hope it will be a lesson to you for the future.
It's all over. I'm lost. Lead me away.
Come to joy.
Stop! The draught. Rebecca's draught. I forgot that. Matters couldn't look worse than they are. It's a desperate remedy, but it's my only way out. Oh, help! I'm fainting.
Gracious, he's fainting.
Fainting. Here's a pin. Stick him.
You brute. The eau de cologne. Quick!
Oh, my tie, undo it. My waistcoat. Give me some air. Give me water. Quick, water.
Oh, give him water. Give him water, somebody.
Ladies and gentlemen, I deliberately wish that my acquaintance with Miss Spiff and all its consequences may henceforth be blotted out of my existence.
They all fall back in astonishment as Foggerty drinks. He falls insensible on the sofa, all the group around him as he falls. Picture, curtain. Okay, that's the end of Act One. Let's see. Let's start again in at 10 of. Is that okay? 5 minutes.
Thank you, 5.
Thank you, 5.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This is great. I'm enjoying learning of this play. Don't really know much about about it before, and we'll see how it goes. And thank you so much, Natasha, for stepping in at the last minute, and Christina for finding her. That's it's amazing.
Thank
Great
you guys
job.
for having me. This is so much fun.
Truly an instant performance. So, and just because once we're on YouTube, where I can't sort of like pause it, so I'm just going to keep talking and let people know about what's going on with Instant Shakespeare coming up. We're this is great to have this. We just started our 24th season.
Whoa.
The 24th season of yes, and we did a reading last Saturday of 12th Night, which was really wonderful that Ken had play mastered, and yeah, Ben did a great job as Malvolio, and it was that was a lot of fun. And then
It's a pretty good part.
yeah, well that is such a, it's like I haven't hit it on like actual 12th Night for a few years, but starting the season with 12th Night, it's great because it is such a great play. You know, it's a truly, I mean, of all of his plays, I don't think you can find one that's more of an ensemble piece where you don't really have one leading part, but you have like 6, I mean, equally strong, almost very equivalent sized parts. So that was fun. And then yesterday we did our little celebration of Chekhov, because actually today is the 163rd anniversary of the birth of Anton Chekhov, who is just such a wonderful playwright and short story writer. And his work is really great. And so for the last couple of years, we've celebrated that. And we have coming up on next Thursday, Michael Gardner's put together a cross-gender Othello, which we will be doing on Thursday night. And then we have on a week from Saturday, February 11th, we're going to have a Moliere play by that Simon Kunrad is playmastering. I believe it's Amphitryon, so those are the things we've got scheduled so far. If people have other projects that they'd like to do or other readings, like what David's put together, I mean, it's great when we find these plays because there's so many great plays out there in the public domain, and David just does such a great job of like being aware of and finding these plays that people just don't know and that are there, and it's great for you guys to get together and share it with all of us. So thank you for that. And other readings that people want to do on Zoom, please let me know. I'm happy to sort of schedule them because I think it's just important to be able to do that. We also, I forgot to mention, we also did a reading last Sunday of Kitty Chen's new play, Mrs. Mustard, that really was quite good, and it was great. And so, I mean, we like to do things either where we have the writer's permission Like we're going to do readings of some of my father's plays this year, and also or things that are in the public domain. And I mean, Shakespeare's obviously in the public domain. Chekhov translate. You have to find translations that are in the public domain. But there's loads of stuff. I mean, and every January they sort of have a public domain because anything from 1927 and before is in the public domain. So
27
more and
now?
more places. Yeah,
We're up to 27. I didn't know that.
yeah, no.
By the way, this play, it's very interesting. This play, I'm sure, came first. Gilbert was wonderful at recycling the dialogue with Walkinshaw, talking about, trying to gradually get into, kiss her, do this, that,
Yeah.
first act, straight out of the Mikado.
Mikado. I was like, this
But-
is something I've heard before.
Yeah, it's from Mikado. It's the scene between
It's like, wait.
with Yum Yum and Coco in the act 2, and it's almost word for word for a few sentences there. And but I'm sure that Fogerty came first. I'm pretty darn sure.
Can I stick in a quick plug for the Othello? The woman playing Othello, I met doing another reading. I forgot what it was, but Cynthia is her name. And she reminds me of Sean Connery. She grew up knowing no Shakespeare and taught herself. And she's now really into it. She's, I think, one of the newest instant Shakespeare nicks. So give her a look.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we continue?
Yeah.
Everybody back? Is everybody back?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Good. All right, Act 2. The scene is a handsomely furnished back drawing room in Harley Street. A wedding bouquet on the table. Fogerty is discovered asleep on the sofa, and Fairy Rebecca enters through the trap door in the stage.
Well, it's about time to wake him. Poor fellow. He little thinks how materially his acquaintance with Miss Spiff has affected his subsequent adventures. Now that he has obliterated her and all the complicated consequences that came of his having known her, he won't know whether he's on his head or his heels. I'm really rather sorry for him. However, I mustn't allow sentiment to interfere with duty. It's time to wake him. So here goes.
Oh, hello. I've been asleep. Dreaming too. Queer things dreams are. I dreamt that a fairy appeared to me and gave me an ounce bottle and told me that if I swallowed the contents... Hello. Oh, steady man, pull yourself together. Yes, I am alive, here it is. The very one. To obliterate circumstance, take 2 teaspoonfuls in a glass of water. And it couldn't have been a dream. I remember it all now. I was on the point of being married to Jenny, and Spiff turned up and determined to blot out Spiff, and I suppose I have blotted her out. At all events, she isn't here. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, well, here we are again.
Yes, here we are again.
So Spiff's blotted out?
Yes, Spiff's done with. No more Spiff.
No chance of her coming back, eh?
None whatever. Your acquaintance with Spiff and all its consequences are blotted out of your existence.
Oh, come, that's something. But I don't know this room. Where am I?
You're where you would have been if you'd never known Spiff.
Well, of course I am. But where's that?
I can't tell you, I'm sure.
Don't you know?
I don't say I don't know. I only say I can't tell.
Doesn't it occur to you that from a guardian spirit you take a rather airy hand, if I may so express myself, philosophical views of your duties?
A guardian spirit? Oh, I'm not your guardian spirit now.
The deuce you're not.
Oh dear, no. That's all over. Wiped out with Spiff.
And why wiped out with Spiff?
You will recollect that I became your guardian spirit because I was sorry to see a fine young man throw himself away upon such an old scarecrow as Spiff.
Well,
But you haven't thrown yourself away upon Spiff. The occasion for my services hasn't arisen. You see, you never knew Spiff.
oh, may I ask if any other friends have been spiffed out?
Once more, I'm not at liberty to say. You'll excuse me, I'm sure.
You're not going to go without giving me some clue of my position?
I must. I can't help you. You must find it all out for yourself. I'm due at a transformation scene to change a respectable young plumber and a good plain cook into Harlequin and Columbine. Oh, the gas is a serious item. I'm sorry I can't be of any further service to you, but you see, I'm spiffed out. Good morning. Go!
But here I say, I've no idea where I am or who I am or how I'm here or whose house it is or how I came into it, or for a matter of fact, whose trousers these are or how I came into them. What am I to do? I can't go about asking people if they'll kindly tell me who I am or if they'll be so obliging as to inform me where I live or what I did yesterday or what I've arranged to do tomorrow. They'll take me for a lunatic. And Jenny, how about Jenny? Has she been spiffed out? Oh, no. I knew her long before I knew Spiff, so that can't be. Now let me see. I was on the point of being married to Jenny when Spiff turned up and prevented the marriage, but Spiff's obliterated, so of course the marriage went on, and of course I'm married to Jenny. By the by, I wonder if I've been married to her long. I hope not. When you're head over heels in love with a girl, as I was with Jenny, it's disappointing to go to sleep and wake up to find that you've been married to her ever so long and got tired of her, as I'm bound to have got tired of Jenny. Hello, here's a letter. It's addressed to me and opened. Now, who the deuce dared to open the letters addressed to me? Oh, I suppose I did. I don't recollect doing it, but it doesn't seem to signify. Dearest, take heart. Hello, this is not Jenny's hand. Dearest, take heart. Situated as we are towards one another, I don't think it would be quite prudent for me to call upon you. No, I should think not. Nevertheless, in the course of tomorrow, I hope to be in a position to remove forever the crushing load of anxiety under which you have so long labored. Oh, that's all, no signature. It seems that I'm infernally anxious about something. It would be convenient to know what it is. Well, I'll ask Jenny. But stop a moment, perhaps Jenny doesn't know of this letter. Now, I wonder if she knows of it. I'll be bound she doesn't know of it. There's something about this letter, I don't know what, but something that suggests that in all probability I shouldn't have shown it to her. I'm extremely sorry to say that notwithstanding the strictness of my principles, circumstances seem to point to the fact that I've been going it.
Oh, Mr. Fogarty.
Oh, Lottie, Dottie! Oh, I'm delighted to see you. I'm delighted to find that you're not spiffed out.
Not spiffed out? Oh, but we flatter ourselves that we are spiffed out. At all events, we've got our best dresses on.
I should think so, on this day of all others.
Yeah, of course, I didn't mean that. Never mind. Now, by a judicious course of pumping, I shall find out exactly how I'm situated. Well, what is it?
A lady has sent this up and says she must see you at once.
Malvina de Vere? I don't know Malvina de Vere.
Oh, that's nonsense. She says you are her dearest friend.
How absurd.
Well, that's what she says.
The deuce she does. Oh, now this must be someone whom I should have known if I hadn't known Spiff. Someone, in fact, who's been spiffed out. This is awkward. I wonder if Jenny knows of this. By the by, where's Jenny?
Jenny? Oh, she's upstairs, poor girl.
Poor girl? Why poor girl, I wonder? Ah, poor girl. How is she by this time?
Oh, pretty well.
Pretty well, not very well?
Why, you can hardly expect her to be very well on this day of all others.
Naturally. I wonder what day of all others this is.
But still, she is as well as can be expected.
As well as... Oh, I see where I am now. I've been married some time, and I wonder if it's a boy or a girl. It would be ridiculous to ask her. I'll go and see her.
Where are you going?
Going? Why to see Jenny, of course.
Oh, you can't possibly see her. She's dressing.
Well, what of that?
Oh, my word, Mr. Fogarty.
You can't go up to her. You must really wait till she comes down.
Oh, she is well enough to come down, is she?
What a question. And on this day of all others.
Exactly, on this day of all
She
others.
is.
What does she mean by this day of all others?
It's a day I never expected to see.
Oh, didn't you? Bless me, I knew all about it from the first.
When one thinks of all the circumstances of the case, one sees how true it is that truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh, what a novel it would make. Only think, the young and penniless apothecary who had never known what love was.
The wholesale cheesemonger's daughter.
Their meeting, the dawn of love in the apothecary's heart.
The opposition of the cruel and mercenary parent.
Her determination to wed the apothecary at all hazards.
Everything at a deadlock. Then the discovery of the pill.
At midnight,
Its sudden renown.
the pill in everybody's mouth.
Stupendous fortune realized by the inventor in no time. All opposition removed, and they're to be married today.
Today?
Of course, the successful young apothecary and the cheesemonger's lovely daughter are to be united today.
Today? But I thought you said she was as well as could be expected.
So I did. And so she is.
Oh, bless the man. She's nervous and excited, of course, but she's not too ill to be married.
I should think not. Indeed, one must be bad for that.
Then I'm not married after all. What's more, I'm to be married today. Why, of course, there's the wedding bouquet. Oh, I see it all now. I've invented a pill. The pill's taken. I'm a man of fortune, and the wedding is to take place at my house. Why, with a little tact, a little judicious pumping, how easy it all is. By the by, I wonder where I live. Oh, Harley Street. Of course it's Harley Street. A man who invents a successful pill always does live in Harley Street. But this lady, my dearest friend on earth, that's awkward on one's wedding day. I can't imagine anything more awkward on one's wedding day. Does Jenny know of this? I'll be bound Jenny does not know of this. There's something about this lady's method. I don't know what that convinces me that I shouldn't have told Jenny about her. Oh, Fogarty, my boy, I'm extremely sorry to say the circumstances point to the fact that you've been going it.
Frederick. Oh, at last, at last.
She is a bosom friend, no doubt about that. I have pleasure in...
Now, don't speak. Not yet. Not yet, I entreat you. Let me drink you in.
Certainly. Be so obliging as to say when you've had enough.
Ah, there, I'm satisfied.
I wish I was.
Now, speak to me. Oh, my love, my tender, tender love. Speak to me as you used to speak to me. Call me by the name by which you used to call me.
Really, oh, by George, I have been going it.
The old name, the pet name of so many happy memories. Oh, call me by it, call me by it.
Certainly, I believe I have the pleasure of addressing Miss DeVere.
Miss DeVere? Miss DeVere? Why, what means this? Why, this extraordinary coolness? Why, this chilling formality? And on this day of all others.
Good. Oh, I beg your pardon, but you took me so completely by surprise.
By surprise? Have you forgotten my note and your reply to it? Read it, sir. Read it.
With great pleasure. Now I shall find out this infernal pet name. My own. Well, that's all. I hate a fellow who calls a girl his own. I recognize the propriety of your scruples in the particularly delicate relation in which we now stand towards each other, but I implore you to come and see me tomorrow morning nevertheless. There, you see, it says tomorrow morning.
This is tomorrow morning.
Nonsense. That can't be. It's ridiculous. Oh, I see it was dated yesterday.
And now, sir, before I proceed to that extreme measure to which I have been unhappily so frequently compelled to resort, perhaps you would be so good as to explain and satisfactorily account for the extraordinary coldness of your reception.
My coldness? That was my scrupulous regard for the respect due to you in the particularly delicate relation in which we stand toward one another.
It was?
It was. Miss de Vere, I find it very hard to continue this assumption of indifference to you, but I am proud to say that my better man is triumphant.
I see. I understand it all.
Then by George, you have the advantage of me.
You will forgive the undeserved reproaches with which, in my jealous madness, I dared to assail you.
Say no more about it, they are pardoned.
Oh, what a mad fool was I!
You were. I mean, no, not at all. I wish she'd go.
But I have been so often the victim of heartless and systematic treachery.
Have you?
Why, you know I have.
No, so I do, of course. I know you have. Poor girl. When I think of your sad story,
Oh, it is a sad story.
I know it is. That's a sad story. But bless me, it's 11 o'clock and I've a most important engagement in half an hour and I'm not dressed. Will you excuse me?
Oh, by all means.
I suppose my dressing room's upstairs?
Really, Mr. Fogarty, I don't know where your dressing room is.
Oh, no, of course not. How should you?
Exactly. How should I? But won't you say farewell to me before you go?
With great pleasure. But at the same time, in accordance with the pledge contained in that letter, I must firmly resist the temptation to address you by that old pet name of happy memories until the relations between us have become more indelicate. Now, that is to say, less delicate than they are.
It is nobly spoken. It is like your heroic self. But you are anxious, are you not? You do burn with a feverish anxiety to hear the word that is to be spoken this afternoon.
Oh, Miss de Vere, I assure you, on the honour of a Lancashire Fogarty, I am tormented with a fidgety anxiety on an infinite number of topics, and among them, that among others. Good morning.
He is gone. How strange and incoherent his manner, how wild and flighty his eye. Oh, mercy on me. Can it be that he, too, is false to me? Can it be that I shall be once more driven to resort to the last and hated means of vindicating my rights? No, I'll not believe it. And yet, but what is this? By the god of treachery, it is a wedding feast. Whose? Oh, impossible. And yet, his strange embarrassment, his evasive hesitation. Oh, misery! Oh, misery! If it should be, oh, what a cursed thing am I! What have I done that this blight should fall on me wherever I go? Why does infidelity dog my path? while the serpent treachery lifts his head on high and hisses forth aloud, ha ha! Oh, ye fate hags three, soul torturers, my defiance to ye all. The fight is betwixt you and me, and I am not made of the stuff that he yields.
There, I think I look lovely. A lady.
It is the bride. Down, down, my heart. Fear not, pretty one. I am but Malvina de Vere, a very sorrowful lady.
I am sorry you are sorrowful.
And you are the bride in whose honor these festive preparations have been made?
Yes, I'm to be married today. And how do you like my dress?
Oh, it is very, very well. It is very well. Oh, how my heart throbs. Down, little one. I must appear calm, and I cannot do so while you beat so rapidly. You are about to be married to Mr. Fogerty?
To Mr. Fogerty? Oh dear, no. What could have put such an idea into your head?
You are not going to marry Mr. Fogerty.
Assuredly not. He is my husband's best man.
Oh, it is well. It is very well. Oh, little heart, do you hear?
You seem agitated. Can I offer you anything?
Oh, I am agitated, young bride. I can never gaze upon a wedding garb without remembering that I, who am a simple maiden still, might, but for man's perfidy, have been ere this grandmamma.
Have they been deceiving you?
Deceiving me? 18 times have I stood dauntlessly at matrimony's verge. 18 times my coward victim, that is to say, my betrothed, has quailed and fled. He, man in name, blanched at the very danger that I courted.
That's so like them. And you, what did you do?
I took the only course that open to me lay. 18 times I offered up my bleeding heart a sacrifice at Themis' sympathetic shrine. 18 times did I lay bare its holiest workings and call on all to come and gaze upon its palpitating pulse. And in each case I recovered substantial damages.
You did nobly. And the 19th?
His fate is yet uncertain. For many months have I lost sight of him, yet have I heard within the last few weeks that he is also false and seeks another bride.
Oh, poor lady.
It matters little. There's a 20th in the field whose exquisitively sensitive regard for my most difficult and delicate position falls scarcely short of the phenomenal. But ere I yield me to his ardent prayers, I must in honor satisfy myself that my 19th is false. This afternoon that problem will be solved.
My heart bleeds for you, sad and gentle lady. But whither you go now?
I scarce can say. To wander up and down and to and fro, restless as a caged panther in his den, until the double-barreled news is brought that I am free to love and bring my action.
Nay, but I'll not co-sign you to the mercies of the inhospitable street. This is my house, or shortly will be so. Pray rest you here, and when the solemn ceremony is over, we pray you join our merrymaking, and in the wild delirium of the breakfast, forget the harrowing trouble at your heart.
I thank you, maiden, for your sympathy. I'll not refuse the shelter that you proffer.
You'll find my boudoir on the 2-pair back, so for the nonce, farewell. May justice pour her balm upon your heart.
Oh, she has, my dear, in every other case, and doubtless will in this. Once more, farewell.
Poor lady, with what a touching dignity she bears her many disappointments. Her sad, sad tale touches me to the heart, for I, too, have loved but vainly. Oh, how I loved him. And he knew it not, but there, I may not think of him. Henceforth, I may think only of my Theodore.
Jenny, my own. At last, my own.
Oh, Theodore, indifferent to me in all else, but interesting to me inasmuch as I am the only woman who ever kindled the fire of love within your heart. Be true to me. Be true to me.
Be true to you while life lasts.
And do you love me?
Love you. Haven't I settled the bill upon you?
Yes, yes, but you have been most generous. I am the only one, am I not?
The only one, in truth.
And you've never known the throb of love.
Until you taught it me.
It is something, nay, 'tis much. For you, my Theodore, I have no love, nor have I ever told you that I had. But I esteem you, Theodore. I respect you.
Rapture! But you're sad.
Theodore, a lady has been here, such a sad, sad lady, so tearful, yet so calm and yet so woebegone and yet so dignified. 18 times has that poor lady been thrown over.
Thrown over where?
And even now she has reason to believe that the 19th is trifling with her feelings.
Bless my soul. What's her name?
Her very name is Poetry and Soul.
Oh, then I don't know her. Sounds like a firm.
She is called Malvina de Vere.
She finds me at home. She'll find me out. I'm ruined. Where is she?
Sobbing her heart out in the two-pair back.
In my house.
In yours and mine. Poor tortured soul. She waits a wire from her solicitor.
Jenny, I have heard of this lady. She's not altogether worthy of your sympathy.
What? How dare you, sir?
She lives on actions for breach. She engages herself to an unsuspecting young man, makes herself intentionally unpleasant. A lover can't stand her and breaks it off, and then she immediately brings an action.
Oh, shame on you to dare in my presence, in the presence of your wife, that is to be to palliate the conduct of a wretch who makes unpleasantness a ground for violating the troth that he has plighted. Oh, shame on you, shame upon you.
But Jenny, I
Here, that's very nice. It's wonderful how a judiciously applied vegetable sets a man off. Oh, that'll do, I think. Now, if I can only find somebody who will give me a clue to... Walkinshaw, my boy, you here?
Certainly I am.
The very last man I expected to see. I give you my unadulterated word of honor.
The last man?
Very last, I assure you. I'm more delighted than I can tell you.
Why? It's hardly likely that I should be absent on this day of all others.
Oh, well, it's very friendly of you to say so. I won't forget it, Walkinshaw, depend upon it. Will you take anything? Do make yourself at home, you know. This is Liberty Hall. Ah, Jenny, my own Jenny. Oh, how superb you look. And to think that in half an hour...
Mr. Fogarty.
And now, tell me how you've been all this time, and what you've been doing, and in short, tell me all about it.
All about? What? Don't!
But I must. I'm so happy. So overwhelmingly and stupendously happy.
You know, I wish Jenny wouldn't let Fogarty kiss her so much. Of course, it's all right, because they've known each other as children. Still, I wish she wouldn't do it. She doesn't let me, so I don't see why she should let him.
Mr. Fogarty, you mustn't really. I'm astonished at you.
He's overdoing it. On my soul, he is.
Pooh, nonsense. On this day of all others?
I can't stand this. I say, Fogarty, and of course it's all right. I know how you and Jenny are situated, but I still think, I think on this day of all others.
What do you mean?
Well, there's too much of it, my boy. I'd leave off if I were you. I would indeed.
No, you wouldn't, Walkinshaw, you jealous dog. Poor devil, he hasn't got over his attachment to her yet. It is rather rough on him.
Look, kissing her under my very nose.
Not under your very nose, under her very nose. But don't distress yourself. It shan't occur again.
You're overdoing it, my boy.
Well, perhaps I am.
I'm sure you are.
I agree with you. It's not delicate.
It's indelicate.
Yes, on this day of all others.
Exactly, yes, on this day of all others.
And say no more about it. Take one for yourself.
We're in no hurry. We can wait.
Yes, we can wait.
The deuce you can.
Yes, you see, we've plenty of time before us.
Plenty.
Plenty of time before them? Now, what do they mean by that?
Well, it's about time we were off. Let's see, are we all here? Now, there's Uncle Fogel and Aunt Bogle for the first carriage, and there's Lottie and Tottie and Walter and Walker, and your papa and my mama. And yes, all right, we're quite complete. Let's get them all packed off and then come back for you.
Jenny, I don't like Walkinshaw's manner.
His manner is unfortunate, but you mustn't be too hard on him. He's nervous and agitated.
I can understand that. But still, I don't like it, Jenny. I don't like it.
Oh, you must make allowance for him, and on this day of all others.
Well, poor devil. I suppose he's more to be pitied than blame.
Pitied? Well, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yes, pitied. Now, Jenny, it's no use affecting surprise. I can see as far through a millstone as most people, and mark my words, that man's in love with you.
Of course he is.
Oh, you've noticed it.
Noticed it? Why, of course I've noticed it.
I say he's very much to be pitied. He is a dismal prospect before him.
Upon my word, Mr. Fogerty.
Life a blank, every hope crushed, every fond illusion wiped out, nothing before him but a melancholy prime, a blighted sere and yellow, and a solitary and desolate old age. Poor Walkinshaw.
How dare you say these things to me?
Yeah.
I say, how dare you? From this moment, I devote myself, heart and soul to his happiness. It shall be my only care, my only thought.
The devil you will.
I will, I swear it. It will be my duty, and my duty I will do.
It seems to me that you take an exceedingly comprehensive view of your duty. Look here, Jenny, let's understand one another. I know you're as good a girl as ever stepped. Still...
Frederick, Mr. Fogerty, you mustn't.
Mustn't what?
Put your arms around my waist.
Well, it is around your waist.
But I say you mustn't.
Why not? Walkinshaw can't see.
That has nothing to do with it. I won't allow it because it's not right. On this day of all others.
Indeed. I should have thought if ever there was a day on which I might be permitted to take such an innocent freedom, this day of all others is the day.
How dare you say such things to me? It is most unkind to me and most unfair to your friend.
My friend? Oh, Walkinshaw. Yeah. I tell you, he can't see.
I don't care. It's most unfair to him.
Seems to me you've a remarkably tender regard for Walkinshaw's feelings.
Certainly I have. As you know, I don't pretend that I love him.
Well, I should hope not.
I mean, as a wife is expected to love her husband.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yet I have a sincere regard for him, and be assured of this, I shall always respect his privileges.
Upon my word, ma'am, situated as I am...
I know, you were my childhood's friend, but that only makes it all the more dreadful. And sincerely as I esteem you, I must tell you at once that if ever you presume to attempt the slightest, very slightest familiarity with me, except to Mr. Walkinshaw's presence, I shall give directions that you are never to be admitted into this house again.
But, Jenny, listen for a moment.
Useless, Frederick. It's best to begin as we mean to go on.
Don't you think you'd better marry Walkinshaw at once?
Yes, we shall be too late if we don't start very soon.
I say, don't you think you'd better marry Walkinshaw? Walkinshaw at once?
I say yes, I do. I can't imagine what's detaining him.
Jen. Great heavens.
What's the matter? You are ill. Some water. Quick.
Jenny, attend to me. Am I to understand that you are really going to marry Walkinshaw?
How can you ask such a ridiculous question?
No, but you are. Answer me, yes or no, are you?
Am I? You know I am.
You are.
Of course. Don't be absurd.
I'm sorry, I lost my place. Oh, but don't marry him. For heaven's sakes, don't marry him. Jenny, you can't, you shan't. I won't stand for it, and I won't see it done. Jenny, whom I love so deeply.
Mr. Fogarty, you amaze me.
Amaze you? Why, you know I love you.
I? Indeed, I know nothing of the kind.
Why, I've told you over and over again.
Told me so? Never.
How can you say that? Didn't I propose? Didn't you accept me? Weren't we engaged? And... Stop, no. I'm mixing it all up again.
You must have dreamt all this.
Exactly, that's it. I must have dreamt it. But did I never tell you that I loved you?
Oh, no. Why didn't you? Why didn't you?
I don't know. I suppose I forgot to mention it.
Oh, if I had only known! If I had only known!
Then you loved me.
What have I said?
You did. You do. You can't deny it. You shan't deny it. You loved me madly, passionately. How could you help it?
Frederick, in mercy, spare me. It is cruel to say such things to me just as I am at the point of marrying another man.
But don't marry another man. He's unworthy of you. I'm not. I love you. Desperately. He doesn't. I'll do so all my life. He won't. He can live without you. I can't. I shall go mad if you don't love me. He shan't. Tell Walkinshaw to go and hang himself, and he won't mind. He's a good-natured fellow, and he'll do it if you say it's for me.
Impossible. I could not tell him to go and do that. Oh, it's too late. Too late. Oh, Frederick, why didn't you tell me this before?
I don't know. There's my difficulty. Situated as I am, it's impossible to say. I thought I had, but it seems I hadn't. Oh, no doubt there's a reason for it if one only knew what it was, but one don't. I hope I'm clear.
Not very, but anyway, it is too late now. The clergyman is at this moment waiting impatiently to unite me to Theodore Walkinshaw. I regard him with a wondering respect as one whose heart had never throbbed with love until I taught it to. But love him? No, I do not love him. But what have you elicited from me? It would be worse than affection to deny that my heart has long been yours, but for your unaccountable silence, we might have been happy. As it is, Frederick, we must never meet again. I embark on my married life with a bruised and broken heart. Farewell, forever.
Jenny, do come back. Gone from me forever. To be knitted to Walkinshaw. And the poor child is fond of me, has been for years, ever since we were children. Oh, what was I about not to have seen it? Why didn't I tell her I adored her? That's just where it is. I don't know. I haven't a ghost of an idea. I see it all now. If I had never known Spiff, I should never have bolted from her to Jenny, never had interfered with Walkinshaw, whose courtship would have gone on swimmingly and culminated in matrimony, as it is this very today. And all this heartbreaking misery, this preposterous coupling of ill-sorted souls, this whirling chaos of discordant sympathies, is the consequence of an ill-omened matrimonial arrangements of Colonel Culpepper's favourite dog's father.
Come, are we all ready? Let's be off. Where's Fogarty?
Fogarty? No, there he is, on the sofa.
What's the matter with him? Isn't he well?
Well, the fact is I lost my temper with him just now and it upset him, but I'll make it all right. Fogarty, my boy, come, cheer up. I didn't mean to speak unkindly to you, but really.
Oh, go, sir, go.
Oh, come, be reasonable. If you caught a fellow kissing the girl you loved, what would you do?
What would I do? Shall I show you what I would do? I'd fly at him! Thus! I'd shake him thus. I'd throttle him thus. I'd say, give her back to me, you traitor, you double-eyed villain, you slayer of hopes, you assassin of hearts. Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, I see. Thank you. I think you'd be justified.
Dear, dear. Fogarty, this is not pretty behavior towards a bridegroom on his wedding day.
Pretty behavior. And you, infamous old traitor, what, you like to see it? Would you like to see what I would do to a scheming father who gives his daughter and then hands her over to somebody else?
It would be interesting, of course. Perhaps if you illustrated on Walkinshaw, I should see it better than if you did it to me.
Walkinshaw. After all I've done for him, you robbed me of the only girl I ever loved.
You loved my girl?
Did you love Jenny?
Did I love Jenny? Do you think I should have been engaged to her if I hadn't?
Engaged to her?
Engaged to her? Yes! Oh, I forgot, it's all been spiffed out. I've been mixing it again.
On my soul, I think you have, and pretty freely, too.
Oh, don't mind me. Don't take any notice of what I say. Give me air, or I shall choke. Oh.
I say, doesn't it strike you that he's...
I say, doesn't it strike you?
I say, yes.
After you.
I beg your pardon. No, not at all.
I was going to say, doesn't it strike you that there's something very incoherent in Fogarty's manner?
The very thing I was going to say to you.
Mark my words, he's mad.
Yeah, staring mad.
It's an awful thing.
Appalling.
Glass of wine?
Ah, with pleasure.
Stop.
But we can't always be stopping. What's the matter now?
This wedding, it must not take place.
Must not take place? Jenny, what in the world do you mean?
Stand off, sir. Do not dare approach me. I regard you with contempt and loathing unutterable.
Jenny!
Approach me not. I say, you have trifled with my most sacred feelings. You've outraged my tenderest sensibilities. I regard you as a snaky and systematic serpent, and thus I extricate myself from your slimy toils.
Oh, Jenny, this is not pretty behavior to your husband on his wedding day.
Pretty behavior? Do you know that man?
Know him? Yes, very well.
You know his smooth and plausible outside, but his inside, do you know that?
Really, my dear, I'm not his medical attendant, but what has he done?
Unhinged and unstrung by the prospects of the approaching ceremony, I sought just now the congenial sympathy of the sad lady on the second floor. As I approached her room, I saw the door ajar. She was in close communion with her solicitor. I heard his voice, and thus he spoke, console yourself, oh, sad lady, for we have evidence that Walkinshaw, the fickle, fluttering, faithless Walkinshaw, is on the eve of marriage to another. It was enough, too much, I care to hear no more.
Yeah, me, Walkinshaw, I'm surprised at you.
Now, Jenny, hear me.
I will hear nothing. It is enough for me that you have loved. Henceforward to me, you are as one that is dead. You are an obliterated postage stamp, not the less obliterated because the die has been wielded by an unworthy hand. Happily, truth, honor, rectitude, morality, propriety, benevolence, veneration, and first love are on the balcony. They meet in Frederick, and to him I confide my heart.
Oh, Jenny, I was sure you would. I was sure that when you came to think it over, you couldn't help it. Yeah, but Walkinshaw?
He is dead.
That's very sudden.
He is dead to me. He lived to drag on a miserable existence as a depressed and degraded monster.
I'm shocked at you, Walkinshaw.
Miss Talbot, I cannot struggle against your determination. I know that when you say you will not marry me, you mean it.
She did last time.
Huh?
Oh, nothing.
I have only to ask that in memory of what I once was to you, you will keep my unhappy secret and not subject me to the hideous consequences of an exposure.
Sir, you deserve no mercy, but I am merciful. Your shameful secret is safe with me.
Walkinshaw, I at a loss for words in which to express definitely my sense of your infamous conduct, because I am not at present acquainted with the nature of your offense.
Jenny, you can't marry this man. He's mad. He can't contract matrimony. It would be illegal.
They say you're mad, my own. It is because you've never loved before.
Heed them not. They mistake the desponding utterings of a crushed heart for the maniacal ravings of an unseated brain.
I beg your pardon.
I beg yours.
I was going to say that we must get a commission to sit on him.
Just what I was going to say.
It's a pity-built circumstance.
Horrible.
Deplorable.
Disastrous.
Glass of wine.
Ah, with pleasure.
My own love, mine and only mine. Oh, tell me again, you at least have never loved before?
Never. Often I have lain awake at night wondering what manner of thing is love, of which I heard so much might be, and now the sun has risen on my darkness and all seems clear as summer noon.
My love, oh, this is ecstasy.
Hey, oh, unhand me, villains!
Frederick, my own, they are taking me from you.
Cowards! Thus and thus will I deal with thee.
Who shall separate us now? I am my own mistress.
And mine.
Oh, Frederick, rejoice with me. The news, the great and glorious tidings have arrived. My faithless lover is on the point of marriage with another, and I am at last free to accept those professions of affection with which for the last 12 months you have so eloquently pleaded for my hand.
Jenny recoils in horror from her, turns and looks at Fogarty, then faints in Talbot's arms. Fogarty stands confused for a moment, then turns round, rushes wildly to the balcony at the back of the stage, and leaps out into the street. The others rush after him to stop him, but they are too late. Malvina faints in the arms of Walkinshaw, whose head is still wrapped up in a newspaper picture curtain. Okay. Take another 5 before we proceed.
We got to stage this one. Got to get this one on its feet.
Yeah, well, physically it's.
Thank you, 5.
Yeah, that was great. It was just fun to see like Ben and Drew going at it over Zoom. You know, you've done so much together.
A great scene partner is a great scene partner, whether it's live or over this silly thing.
Yes. Well, see, because this is also live. This is live.
True.
But it's just not in person. It's virtual.
No, but there's a delay with this. So
Yeah.
you really, I mean, when you get something back, it's somebody's really working, because it isn't there. You can't really feed off each other in the same way.
Yeah.
It feels like you are to you doing it, but to the recipient, the timing is always a little okay.
Yeah, it can be. I feel like us of the Shaw Project have kind of gotten used to playing with each other and playing big in a tiny screen. You know, Paula for sure has been doing that. Ben for sure, man.
I was in something for a British company early in COVID, and they were very specific about the adjustment, and they said start your line, earlier than you would, like while the other person's still talking, because to the audience, they had substantial audiences actually. To the audience, it'll sound right. I know that delay may have improved in the 3 years or so since this all started.
Yeah, since we've been doing this all this time.
But at first it was a bigger delay. I don't know if that's been fixed.
Well,
You know that when we had the surprise break. Sorry?
it's pretty good advice for something like this, even on stage, because everything happens so fast and is so ridiculous.
Right.
That you need that energy.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
I've had a bunch of things crash on me, and I'm trying to refine the place on the script.
Beginning of Act 3,
Thank you.
which is page 43.
Great.
We're on break between Acts 2 and 3 at the moment.
That I know.
I'm sitting with my hand in my
You're
David
what?
put his hand over his nose. I'm just filling him in. Did anybody see him? He's Asher, you still there? Oh.
Yeah, I'm here, but I can't get the script to scroll. Oh, well, now I got it.
Oh, okay, good.
I don't know what the hell happened.
Drew, are you sight reading?
Well, Gremlin's at it again, I'm afraid.
Sight reading?
Yeah,
You mean like, have I read this before? I read a few. I've read the beginning.
because there's a few wonderful little malapropisms I've been enjoying.
Great.
Forgive me. Give me the page number again, please.
I'm sure.
43.
43.
Thank you.
Ah,
Drew is always amazing. I just have to say.
Aww.
No, he
Agreed.
really.
Thanks, Deb.
You're so good. You're so
I
good. I mean,
second
everybody
that.
is. Don't get me wrong, but this is a great part for you, boy.
This is fun. This is a fun one that we could stage this. I love that he finally jumped out though. I think Gilbert's really clever because this could be really stupid, you know?
Yeah.
Like this could be really bad, but it's just so clever and so like aware of itself
Mhm.
Yeah.
to where
That's-
it just like he jumps out the window when he said we wouldn't want this to be a stupid pantomime in the beginning. It's great.
Yeah.
Gilbert knew what he was.
Natasha. I don't know if she's on, but wow.
Yeah. Way to
That's
just
wonderful.
read.
Talk about a cold reading and
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
killing it.
Bravo.
nicely done.
It's
Yeah.
really, really, really enjoyable. And like watching everyone too. This is such a fun play. I'm like reading, as you guys are going.
Thank you for joining us. My goodness.
Yes, at the last
Thank
minute.
you,
too. Thank you so
Christina.
much.
For sure.
I've never had it happen before that somebody has canceled on me 2 minutes before the reading is supposed to start.
Oh, wow.
And literally, I opened the email and it said 2 minutes ago. So it wasn't like it
Right. It was earlier and you missed
wasn't
it.
like this morning. It was like literally 2 minutes before but of course, if you got a stomach thing,
Yeah.
How's your stomach feeling, David?
not great. Something's going on with my stomach.
You look a little, I'm just going to say, you look a little flushed to me.
Well,
That could be the lighting too.
that's probably the lighting more than
Because normally you're not like that,
maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I feel a little warm, so maybe,
Yeah, I wonder if you have a fever.
maybe I do have a small one.
Hmm.
I probably got a little stomach bug of some sort, I'm afraid.
Man,
And take note, I'm afraid if this continues, we're gonna have to postpone the dinner.
on Tuesday, you're talking about?
Well, yeah, I'm from feeling not.
When
feeling
did
well.
how long you had this little fever feeling?
Well, it started last night. I started to feel weird. Now it's
All right. Well, we'll check in. What's today? Sunday?
Are you guys going out for his birthday?
Ben's supposed to
Yes.
take me out to dinner on my birthday, and
Oh, that's nice.
Very nice.
but frankly, I mean, I have to be careful because I've got, I got a show coming up. I start rehearsals. I mean,
I'll see how you feel tomorrow.
I start rehearsals next week, and I got to be, memorized, totally memorized before the first rehearsal.
When is your first rehearsal, David?
A week from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see how you feel. If it's one of these little bugs, it might be gone by tomorrow night. You'll see.
True. That's true.
We'll see.
Where are you guys going?
To a Japanese-
Natsuki rhymes with nookie.
Japanese?
That's why I picked it.
Because it rhymes with nookie.
Okay.
Give me a second, folks.
All right. I think we're. I get another 2 minutes. I think.
So, Drew, you're in California for the foreseeable future, I heard you say, right?
For the foreseeable future, yeah. Yeah. Though if the shop project was to do Foggerty's Fairy on its feet
You'd
and
show
offer
up,
me a
would you?
role, I'd come out.
It'd be hard to do as a reading on its feet because all the physical stuff is hard to do with a book.
That is a reading.
Or we could,
We just have to do it.
we just have to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
memorize it.
A full staging. Well, but
If you cast all the board members, you don't have to pay any of us.
well, that's true. But the point is, we have to pay for a space and all the rest of that. So,
Oh, can't someone just give us the space?
at the moment we ain't got the money. But we'll see what
But it's such a small cast.
Isn't
So-
there a church that is churchly in New York and is like, here, please bring art to the
They all
people?
want money for what, that's how.
They're all busy getting rich selling their
That's
air
ridiculous.
Selling what, Paula?
rights. Selling their air
Actually,
rights.
it isn't that small a cast because we're doing it because we crunched.
He's doubling and tripling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it really has to be a fairly sizable cast. because
That's
you
actually pretty big.
can't do
Yeah.
those scenes by
that's
having,
true.
What if everybody whose
and
name
roll
rhymes with each other
over.
were puppets?
gotta have might be
Like
about
Walker, Bacher, if like
Might be
Aunt
able to
Fogel
cut a
just
couple-
had like,
Tutti
cut
frutti.
those guys out, cut
because
a
they're in there
couple
for like
guys
2 minutes in the big
for
scene.
some of those people, but
David, is there any significance to my character's name?
Walkinshaw,
Oh.
I
Oh, is what? Yeah, when was this written?
Interesting.
I haven't got the right I haven't got the date in front of me. I'd have to look it up, but it's probably 1880s, something like that.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, but no, it might even it certainly is before the Mikado.
Yeah.
It was 1880, 87.
All the asides make it feel early.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, well, I mean, that's all part of the style.
Yeah, yeah.
Of the Victorian, he's doing a takeoff on a Victorian pantomime kind of
Right.
thing, sort of, with the fairy. That's another thing. Gilbert seems to have been obsessed by fairies. I don't know why.
Weren't a lot of people in the Victorian era?
I suppose they were. Well, fairy was a pantomime. It's usually had a
Yeah.
very bad fairy, whatever. But so I guess fairy culture was kind
It
of
was kind of in the yeah.
Gilbert really bought into it. I mean, you've got an Iolanthe, you've got
Yeah.
other plays by Gilbert that have fairy in them.
And a lot of those fairy books for children were published.
Very last piece, which had music by Sullivan, started writing it, but then he died. Well, actually, I don't know if it was his last piece, but it was an operetta that involved fairies, fallen fairies. That's it.
Like Fallen Angels.
Mhm.
All right,
right.
let's continue. Act 3. We are in a parlor in Walkinshaw's house. Night, lamps lit. The general arrangement of the scene is the same as the scene of Talbot's house in Act 1. And Walkinshaw and Talbot are discovered.
This is a dismal night to what was to have been a fellow's wedding day.
It might be more cheerful, but take heart, be sanguine. Perhaps you and Jenny would not have got on. You're not a very nice man.
No, I know I'm not. But it's rather hard that my having been once engaged to Malvina de Vere should cause Jenny to break off with me at the last moment. And for Foggerty, who's also fallen into that middle-aged harpy's toils.
Don't mind Foggerty. Jenny won't have him now. I've got evidence that he is stark, staring mad. Between ourselves, I've applied to for a commission de lunatico to sit on him at once. I'm going to make the appointment now.
Hadn't you better wait until he comes back?
Hasn't he come back?
No, it's 8 hours since he took his leap from the balcony. Nobody has seen him since.
Dear me, I don't think he could have hurt himself seriously, for I saw him flying down the street, 10 miles an hour, with Malvina after him. Oh, here he is. He's jumped out of a four-wheeler, which is tedding down the street at full speed, and there is another four-wheeler tedding full speed after it. What can it mean?
Safe at last.
Why? Where have you been?
Everywhere.
You seem rather out of breath.
I am a little.
Glass of wine.
With pleasure.
And where is Malvina?
They've given her the slip at last. When I left the house, I bolted up Harley Street. Malvina followed. I got into a cab. She got into another. I said I'd drive anywhere. He drove everywhere. I told him to drive like the devil. He drove like the devil. So did Malvina. Regent's Park, Primrose Hill, Kentish Town, Holloway, Ballspond, Dalston, Hackney, Oldford, Bow, Whitechapel, London Bridge, Southwark. At Southwark, my horse fainted. So did Malvina's. I jumped out, got another cab. So did Malvina. Off again, Old Kent Road, Peckham, Camberwell, Walworth, Kennington, Brixton, Clapham, Battersea, Wandsworth. At Wandsworth, my horse fainted. So did Malvina's. Jumped out, but no cab to be found. Bolted on foot, followed by Malvina. Ran through Putney, Barnes, Mortlake, Kew, Chiswick, Turnham Green, Shepherd's Bush, Kensal Green, Malvina after me. At Kensal Green, I fainted. So did Malvina. Off again through Westbourne Park. At Westbourne Park, I found a cab. So did Malvina. Off again, Maida Hill, Edgware Road, St. John's Wood, New Road, Harley Street. As I passed the door, jumped out unobserved and left my empty cab tearing on 10 miles on an hour, and Malvina after it.
Aren't you a little tired after your stroll?
A little.
I'm not surprised. Will you excuse me? I have a business appointment. I don't let him go. Keep him here till I return.
Oh, well, that is a very determined woman.
A woman of singular strength of character.
Do you think there's any chance of her coming here?
Not the remotest. There she is.
Malvina here. She mustn't catch me. Fogarty, you keep my secret, You'll not betray me?
Not for worlds.
1,000 thanks. I shall never forget it.
I don't know what your secret is, but it will be quite safe with me. There she is, and no use. I can't go any further. Fairly run to earth.
Ah,
Good evening.
good evening.
London is a large city.
Enormous.
Capital cabs, though.
Oh, capital cabs.
Did catch sight of you in Southwark this afternoon. Didn't I catch sight of you in Southwark this afternoon?
Oh, quite possible.
I thought that was you.
It was. Going to marry me?
No,
Don't you love me?
not that I'm aware of.
But you proposed to me.
I have no recollection of it.
I got it in writing over and over again.
All of those mine?
Well, every man jack of them.
May I look at them?
Not exactly. Wasn't born yesterday.
No, you certainly were not.
You're quite resolved?
Quite. You must conquer this passion. I am sorry if I encouraged hopes which were not destined to be realized, but although I have sincere regard for you, I can never be more to you than a friend.
That is your ultimatum.
That is my ultimatum.
Then again, I have to resort to that dread expedient which a sympathetic country has provided for the unsuspecting victims of a man's designing villainy. Allow me.
What's this?
It's a writ of summons at the suit of Malvina de Vere, spinster, against Frederick Fogarty, bachelor, to recover damages for breach of promise to marry.
Thank you. The damages I see are not stated.
Not yet. A true delicacy shrinks from placing matters of this quasi-sentimental character upon a mere business footing. I thought it would be altogether more delicate if we could arrive at an estimate by a friendly calculation.
Very thoughtful.
It's a pretty idea. I always do it. Now, let me see. First of all, there is my distress of mind and consequent wear and tear of personal beauty.
Not worth naming. Mr. Vere is, if possible, more lovely than ever.
Yes, I know I am now, but oh, think of the anxious days and sleepless nights yet to come.
To be sure.
The worm in the bud.
True, I forgot the worm in the bud. How long do you think you will be before you get over it?
Well, generally it takes about 6 weeks.
That's not very long.
We'll make it months if you like.
Not for worlds. You think the worm will have had enough in 6 weeks?
Well, I think so. 6 weeks at a guinea a day, 42 guineas.
Oh dear.
Well, I couldn't do it for less.
Make it pounds. Do.
Oh, what a wheedling way you have. Oh, very well, pounds. But then there is the disappointment, the blackness of a desolate future. Oh, what shall we say for the disappointment?
I shouldn't put that at a high figure if I were you. I shouldn't make a good husband.
Oh, I won't allow that for a moment.
No, but indeed I shouldn't.
Not even such a wife as I.
If anything could make a domestic man of me, it would be the knowledge that I had a nice, snug, cozy creature like you waiting at home for me. But nothing could.
Oh, I don't think I could put the disappointment at less than 100.
100? 100 for such a good-for-nothing scamp as I? Ridiculous. It's absurd. You don't know what a ruffian I am. 50 is the outside figure.
Oh, Mr. Foggerty, you underrate yourself. I don't think... stand up. No. I couldn't put the disappointment at less than 100.
50.
100.
Split the difference and say 75.
Oh, very well, but it's a positive insult to you to put it so low.
Don't mention it, I beg.
Well, then we come to the publicity of the thing, the shame of having to lay bare in open court the holiest feelings of our imperfect nature.
Haven't you got used to that yet?
Used to it? Oh, my dear Mr. Fogarty, believe me that the agony of having to trot out one's affections for the entertainment of a ribald public becomes more excruciating each time. On the whole, I cannot quote the publicity at a lower figure than 500.
4.
5.
Split the difference and say 450. Come now, do for me.
Oh, it's ridiculously cheap. But I never did, in all my experience, come across anybody with such coaxing ways. But then, there's the trousseau.
But that will do for next time. I suppose you haven't had the same trousseau in each case.
Oh, dear, no. Only the last 4 cases. I found that a trousseau only lasts out to 6 engagements. You see, it gets handled and messed, and there's the moth and change of fashion. I usually reckon it at 25% off prime cost. Prime cost 200, 25 off that, 150.
Now, how much is that altogether?
Let's see, £617. There are the costs as between lawyer and client.
Well, say 600 all told, and then, who knows? Perhaps we shall be engaged again.
Oh, I couldn't do it. First-class evidence, you know, warm and flowery letters, all in your own writing.
Are they warm and flowery?
Oh, ridiculously so. Well, there's poetry in some of them, your own.
My own? I wonder where I got it from. But wait a moment, Jenny won't have me now. I really don't see what it is to prevent me marrying you.
Oh, nothing whatever, if you prefer that course. Then there will only be the costs out of pocket.
There's the remains of a fine woman about you.
I am generally known as the Splendid Ruin.
You are a splendid ruin. A sprig or two of ivy, an owl under your arm, and you would be complete. My dear girl, if it's a question of paying £600 and costs or marrying you, I'll marry you.
You will?
Certainly. I must have seen something in you, or I shouldn't have proposed to you. I have no doubt you are a much more agreeable woman than you look.
Well, surely you know how agreeable I am by this time.
Yes, no doubt. But Malvina.
Call me by the old pet name, the name of happy memories.
Yes, that's just it. I don't know what it was.
You don't know what it was?
Malvina, I will be candid with you. A singular misfortune has overtaken me, and my mind, perfectly keen and sound at the present moment, is a blank as regards to everything that took place before this morning. My memory is quite gone.
How remarkable.
Oh, odd, isn't it?
Well, then that accounts
For my not knowing that confounded pet name of happy memories and 50 other things. Now, if you will undertake to tell me all about myself, who I am, what I am, where I am, and who and what everybody else is, and in short, enable me to hold my position before the world without making an infernal fool of myself, I'll marry you out of gratitude. Now, is that a bargain?
Is it a bargain? I rather think it is a bargain. Oh, but what an extraordinary state of things.
Well, it is singular. I'll just run upstairs and make a change. You see what a state I am after my run. And then the sooner you post me up to this morning, the better.
I will go, my love. And in the meantime, I will draw up a statement of facts for your information. Farewell.
Farewell. Don't you think...
Think what?
That under the circumstances, I venture no, better not.
At last, oh, fate, oh, thou hast smiled on me. There seems some prospect that blighted bud, my heart, may blossom into wedded dignity. But who are these who break my solitude?
Come in, gentlemen. Pray be so good as to sit down. Oh, the athletic lady. I beg your pardon. Mr. Fogarty
has sought the sacred precincts of his chamber to make a certain change in his apparel.
Oh, exactly. He has had a fatiguing afternoon. Dear me, this is awkward.
I'll not intrude upon your converse, sirs. I wait an interview with Frederick and will, with your permission, gentlemen, attend his coming in the 2-pair black.
Fine woman, sound in wind and limb. Gentlemen, the unfortunate subject of your investigation will be here in very few minutes. You will not find him violent, gentlemen.
His paroxysms are mild, are they?
I should hardly call them paroxysms. They don't amount to that. I should rather describe him as the victim of extraordinary hallucinations.
Very sad.
Very sad indeed. And what, my dear Mr. Talbot, is the subject or bent of his delusions?
Well, gentlemen, among other singular misconceptions, he is under the impression that he is the inventor of the famous longevity pill.
Pardon me, the notorious. We don't use the term famous in connection with patent medicines. We call them notorious.
He thinks he invented the notorious longevity pill.
It is a very significant symptom. I remember the case of an unfortunate man who systematically infringed other people's patents and actually made a fine fortune by doing so. Mad, sir, hopelessly mad.
He also believes that it derives a very large income by its sale, when in point of fact, he has not a penny in the world.
Oh, very common delusion. I recollect an instance of a poor half-witted creature who drew enormous cheques on a bank at which he had positively no account whatever, and in a name which actually did not belong to him. The cheques were cashed, and he was off to America before the delusion was discovered. Mad, sir, quite mad.
And then again, he will accept any theory concerning himself that you choose to suggest. You can make him believe that he is a soldier, sailor, tinker, tailor, ploughboy, apothecary, thief, all in turn. Remarkable, isn't it?
Not at all. Nothing more common. I once gave evidence in the case of an unhappy man who obtained large sums of money from charitable people on the plea that he was a bricklayer's widow with 12 children. The poor fellow would have had 12 months' imprisonment with hard labor. But for my evidence, mad, sir, hopelessly mad.
If you will excuse me for a moment, gentlemen, I will send him to you. You will find the sherry on the sideboard. Clear-headed, logical men of sense, these mad doctors.
Now, Blog, attend to us.
Dr. Bob means listen attentively to what we say.
We find it necessary, as no doubt we shall, to give this unfortunate gentleman into your charge. You will humour him in everything.
Dr. Dub means that you will contradict him in nothing.
In nothing whatever.
In other words, in nothing at all.
All right, Governor.
Now, mind you keep your eye upon him.
In other words, don't let him get out of your sight.
Whatever he says, accept his delusion.
My friends, means humor his hallucinations.
Agree to his statements at once, however absurd they may seem.
In other words, accept his theories, however ridiculous they may appear.
It's the only way to deal with a confirmed delusionist.
There is no other course to take with a hopeless visionary.
And now we had better go and prepare our report.
By all means.
After you.
I couldn't think of it.
Oh, but I insist.
As you please.
Damned coxcomb.
Now, what is this? Is it alive or is it stuffed?
I'm stuffed.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm keeping an eye on you.
Do I understand that your instructions are to follow me wherever I go?
No, because you ain't going nowhere.
Now, how am I to deal with this ruffian? I could kick him out. At least I think I could. But he seems to have some right here. He isn't a man in possession. You aren't a man in possession, are you?
No, I ain't a man in possession.
I see what it is. He's a constable. I have committed a crime which I shouldn't have committed if Spiff hadn't been spiffed out. And these two black and white scoundrels are detectives. I say, those two piebald idiots who left as I came in, are they detectives? You can't deny that.
I ain't going to deny anything.
This is perfectly appalling. What have I done? What's my crime? Is it embezzlement, forgery, bigamy, highway robbery? What is it? That's it. I have an idea.
Don't take on so. There's lots in the same fix.
Lots in the same fix? Yes, I know there are, but they know what they've done and I don't. Walkinshaw is at the bottom of this.
Walkinshaw's at the bottom of it.
Of course he is. He has led me into this. Mind, whatever it is, he has led me into it.
He's led you into it.
Whatever it is, I will confess all. I will turn Queen's evidence against Walkinshaw and will bring Walkinshaw to justice. In return for my services to the state, claim the royal pardon.
That's your game. Nothing like it.
Now you, sir, just attend carefully to what I say. I intend to make a clean breast of it and admit everything. It would simplify matters if I had some remote notion, just a vague, distant, glimmering idea of what Walkinshaw and I have done. Oh, never mind, half a dozen shrewdly framed leading questions will pump it out of him. Now then, are you ready to receive my confession?
All right, fire away.
Now then, you know, of course, when this deed was done, for which Walkinshaw and I shortly will have to answer to the outraged majesty of the law.
I know, 1st of April.
Oh, the very 1st of April, in the year of Your Grace, 1879, this deed in which Walkinshaw and I will shortly have to answer to the outraged majesty of the law was perpetrated. We selected the 1st of April because we were anxious to get it over with soon after March as possible. And now then, when do you think we did it?
Can't say, I'm sure.
No, but guess.
I ain't good at guessing.
What an unimaginative ass it is. Come now, make an effort. Just one.
12 o'clock at night when nobody was looking.
At the mystic hour of midnight on the 1st day of April in the year of Your Grace, 1879, Walkinshaw and I, having previously ascertained that we were secure from the impertinent observation of casual passers-by, perpetrated that deed for which we shall only too soon have to take our stand at the bar of the outraged majesty of the law. We selected midnight because it's generally darker than it is by daylight. Well, there I was. I say I was there.
Alone?
Alone in the grim and ghostly solitude of that April midnight. I needn't tell you how I was occupied.
Maybe you was digging an hole.
Armed with a pickaxe and a spade, stripped to the shirt, and with the beady dews of mental agony on my brow, I shoveled up the black earth until the hole was wide and deep enough for the purpose we had in view. Scarcely had I satisfied myself that the hole was wide and deep enough for the purpose we had in view when, what do you think happened?
Perhaps Walkinshaw came up.
Creeping guiltily in the ghostly moonlight as one whose mind was burdened with a crime too great for him to bear, Walkinshaw came up. You know as well as I do what that monster in human form had with him.
Maybe it was the sack.
It was a sack, closed up at one end, but open at the other for the convenience of removing whatever it was intended to contain. So, you see, I am perfectly candid. I conceal nothing from you. The sack contained the booty.
Oh, she was a booty, was she?
Eh?
I say, she was a booty, was she?
She? Did you say she?
You said she was a booty.
My dear sir, she was one of the finest women you ever saw in the whole course of your life. Oh, it's murder. Oh, the furies, it's murder. Who is she? What could have induced us to it?
Was she dead?
Dead, but still warm. Oh, this is appalling. And how do you think this unhappy lady met her miserable fate?
£1.5 pounds of arsenic?
Oh, very near £1.5 pounds of arsenic. Not quite, but very nearly. Purchased in small doses for the ostensible purpose of killing rats and administered to her by whom, do you suppose?
Oh, Walkinshaw, of course.
Oh, my dear fellow, I did you an injustice. I took you for an ass. Allow me to apologize. You are one of the sharpest men I have met for a long time. Of course it was administered by Walkinshaw. And how do you suppose that fiend in human form contrived to administer this deleterious material to his ill-fated victim?
Apple pudding?
You are quite right. It was an apple pudding. A large apple pudding, the apples having been previously pared and cut into quarters and the cores extracted. Now, the question is, and a very important question it is, how far I am implicated.
Oh, that is the question.
True, I assisted him in disposing of the body. True, I went even so far as to dig a hole that was to receive it. But then the question arises, how did I come to do it? How came I to be there after all?
You was walking in your sleep.
I was in a state of the profoundest somnambulistic unconsciousness. I give you by untarnished word of honor, I was snoring heavily during the whole transaction. As for the lady, who do you think she was? Of all unlikely people on the face of the earth, who do you suppose that beautiful, unhappy lady was?
Suppose we say his Aunt Sarah.
It was his admirable Aunt Sarah, an excellent and blameless lady as ever stepped, and I assure you, a first-rate aunt, a really capital aunt. In point of fact, she had but one fault in her composition, and I needn't tell you what that was.
Drink?
Her passion for alcoholic stimulants was that lovely but deeply injured lady's bane. Beginning with a small, comparatively harmless drams, the detestable habit gradually grew upon her, and she got from one thing to the other, for I am anxious to omit nothing, however insignificant from my confession, until at last she degenerated into a monomaniacal dipsomaniac.
No.
Walkinshaw, one of the most exemplary nephews in the world, really couldn't stand it any longer. His credit as a gentleman, his position in society, his very means of livelihood were all affected by that disreputable habits of this abominable old lady, one of the very finest you ever saw. One day he made a large apple pudding and flavoured it with nearly 1.5 pounds of arsenic, and I, in one of those fits of somnambulistic unconsciousness to which I have been subject from infancy, dug a hole to receive the body, snoring heavily the whole time. Oh, there, I've done it now. What have I said? Oh, Walkinshaw, Walkinshaw, if only I had my fingers around your throat this moment, justice would be balked of her victim.
Oh dear, she's found me out. She's after me. I can just catch the 9:45, but I haven't got a moment to lose.
Stop, scoundrel!
Oh!
Miscreant, stop!
What do you mean? Let me go, I'm bolting.
Bolting, are you? Not well, I have the strength of 20 men, as I have now.
You had better stop. Do what the poor gentleman tells you. Don't contrary him.
Look, stop. I can't stop. Would you let me? Don't shake me. You're always rumpling me.
Oh, rumple you, I'll rumple you.
Look, just let me go.
Better let the poor gentleman rumble you if he wants to.
Abandon all hope of escape. Your diabolical treatment of that amiable and deeply injured lady will soon be blown to the four corners of the earth.
I didn't treat her handsomely, I admit, but you treated her just as badly as I did.
I did. I know it. Guilty wretch that I am. But who led me to it? Who used his diabolical power over me to compel me to act as his accomplice? Oh, I could throttle you.
Would you kindly desist for a moment, and perhaps I could answer you?
Don't contrary him, sir. Best let the poor gentleman throttle you if he wants to. It's the only way.
That's coming. She's after me. Would you hide me? Hide me. She follows me wherever I go.
The conscience-stricken coward is haunted by the imaginary presence of his miserable victim.
Oh. Don't quite understand.
Understand that I have confessed everything. Your beautiful and ill-fated Aunt Sarah.
God and Aunt Sarah.
Her unfortunate passion for drink, the apple pudding, arsenic, The agonizing death, the blood-stained sack, and this ghastly tenant, the midnight grave?
Some mistake somewhere.
Officer, seize him.
But
Seize him, I say.
I'm very sorry, sir. But the poor gentleman mustn't be contraried.
Don't you rumple me.
They came this way. Oh, here he is now. And now I have got you.
Oh, don't touch him. He is a murderer.
A murderer?
Take my advice and don't go too near him, miss. He is a madman.
A madman? A murderer and a madman? Oh, it's me. It is to such men as these that I have handed over my unsuspecting heart. Oh.
I think you're muted, David.
My dear, we are quite ready to remove him, but I'll bring it pleasantly to him. My dear Fogarty, I'm extremely sorry to say that it is necessary to place you under restraint.
Under restraint? Oh, I see it all now. They take me for a madman. I only needed this to complete my misery.
Come along with me. There's a cab at the door and it'll be done as comfortable as possible.
Away. Matters have reached a crisis. There is only one thing to be done. I have Rebecca's pills in my pocket. One last appeal to her. If it fails, I give in. Rebecca, up here.
Now, what do you want? I'm extremely busy and this interruption is most annoying.
I won't detain you long. In my anxiety to appear equal to the intellectual pressure of the conversation, I have been led into making such preposterous statements that I run a very good chance of being hanged first and confined to a lunatic asylum afterwards.
Really, this doesn't concern me. I've nothing to do with it. My guardianship is spiffed out.
Yes, I know it's spiffed out, but you're an extremely intelligent and accomplished young person. Don't you think that if you made an effort, you could spiff it in again?
Out of the question. I should have to admit that I made a mistake, and I should be at once relegated to the back rows among the stout ones and never allowed to dance, even in a quartet, and lately I've been dancing solo.
But my...
I've nothing more to say. Your situation doesn't concern me in any way. I beg that I may not be interrupted again. Go!
Stop!
What do you want?
Allow me to remind you that I've 47 pills left, and I can call you up 47 times if I please. I don't want to make myself unpleasant to a lady, but if you're not civil, I'll give you a time of it.
Well, be quick. What is it?
Let's understand one another. When I took the draft, all the consequences of having known Spiff were obliterated.
Utterly.
But if I had never known Spiff, I should never have gotten into the difficulty on account of Spiff. And if I had never gotten in difficulty, I should never have applied to you to get me out of it. And if I had never applied to you to get me out of it, it would never have given me that infernal draught, which has been the cause of all my miseries with which I'm threatened.
Dear me, I never thought of that.
In point of fact, I've been saddled with my consequences from which, according to the terms of my contract, I ought to have been entirely free.
It certainly seems so. I'm very sorry.
Now, all this comes of hurrying your work. If you do a little less bedevilment and do it well, you'd make a better job of it in the end.
It's not bedevilment. I'm a good fairy.
Good, but stupid.
Good, but stupid. Oh, I hope you won't mention this.
That depends upon yourself. You got me into this fix, and you must get me out of it. Restore the matters to the original condition, barring Spiff, whom I won't hear of at any price, and will say no more about it.
Very good. I'll do it, but mind, it must never be known that I tried back, or I should get into a terrible scrape. Are you ready for the change?
Quite ready.
Then go.
Waves one, slow music, scene suddenly changes to the scene at Act 1, daylight. All the fairies enter at the back and group until the end. Talbot, Malvina, and Walkinshaw gradually revive from their swoon. Malvina goes to Walkinshaw.
Walkinshaw, my own.
Malvina.
Frederick, my own.
Jenny.
Now then, come along. The carriages have been waiting ever so long, and the clergyman is getting cold. Uncle Fogel, take Aunt Bogle. Walker, take Lottie. Barker, take Tottie.
Frederick, in 10 minutes we shall be made one. Tell me once more that you've never loved before.
Never. Wouldn't dream of such a thing. It's all right. It's all over. It's past. It's gone. Spiffed out forever.
What's spiffed out?
Medical men. Madhouse. Breach of promise. Execution. Murdered Aunt Sarah. All gone.
What's the man talking about?
Walkinshaw. You did not murder your Aunt Sarah.
Never.
Oh, too absurd.
Walkinshaw, you are going to marry to Malvina. If in fullness of time, heaven should ever bless you with a little Aunt Sarah, swear that an admirable woman's life shall be as sacred as your own.
Before heaven, I swear it.
I knew it. God bless you, Walkinshaw. And Jenny, dear Jenny, you won't marry Walkinshaw. But on the contrary, you'll marry me, and Walkinshaw will marry Malvina. She has an excellent constitution. And Walker, Barker, Lottie, Tottie, Fogel, Bogle, you'll all marry each other. And I shall declare I am so happy I don't know whether I shall laugh or cry. Which shall it be?
Which will it be?
Oh, well, better be unanimous.
Take care of Foggerty with Jenny, Walkinshaw with Malvina, Walker with Lottie, Barker with Toddy, Uncle Fogel with Aunt Bogle, and move toward the entrance, laughing heartily. The scene opens at the back. During this, fairies enter, laughing heartily and waving wands. Becca ascends on the stool at back, also laughing. Red fire, curtain. How silly can you get? Well, we know now that when he wrote this, since the date 1879 is mentioned.
Right, yeah.
So now we know it's
Fire.
in the middle of doing all the Jeunesse stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's Pirates, I think. Yeah.
Before Mikado.
If we're right around then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before Patience, which was later than that. So.
It says it actually premiered in December of 1881.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay, so
yeah.
it was close to Patience.
Took some time.
Yeah, well, that was so much fun. Thank you, David, so much for
Thank you all
for
doing this.
because I've never heard of this play before, and it's fun, and it's also it's interesting in that, I mean, yeah, I guess fairies were still part of the popular belief back then, but it's a time travel thing, and just sort of like, oh yeah, until you get the final one to get it
If
all
you
worked out.
remember, Conan Doyle was interested in fairies.
Yeah.
Really?
So, I mean, he was,
Mhm.
and somebody put over, according to history and something I've seen on TV dramatized, there was a scam put over on him from some guys who insisted they had actual photographs. They managed to capture photographs of fairies.
Yeah, there's a film called Photographing Fairies that's about that.
Yeah, that must be.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that was
they're
one
big
of Andy
thing.
Warhol's projects in the 70s. Yeah.
Odd combination of
Well, Christina, I think you should be
Mysteries of
immediately auditioning for Disney because you're an
I-
excellent fairy.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I didn't quite get what you said, Paula.
I think
you,
you should
Paula.
audition for Disney. She's a great fairy.
Yes, indeed, and making Natasha appear like magic. That was
Literally,
as
yeah.
well. So thank you
bravo.
so much, Natasha. You
Part
did a
of the
great job.
fun. Part of the fun.
Please come back for instant Shakespeare. So it's great.
Part of the fun is that he makes the fairy so matter of fact, you know. Here's this fairy of all things, and she's like, oh, you have to understand. She's
Right.
like,
People are good but stupid.
normal logical person.
And breaking the fourth wall all over the place. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that she's got so many other interests. You know, usually fairies come into a story and their focus is on the person, you know, whatever the protagonist is. And she seems, I'm quite fond of to go out and rehearse her shows.
I have a ballet performance to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that she's like, I was interested in you. But now
That's all.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the story anymore.
Well, I mean, it was very common in those days. Christmas pantomime, of course. The fairies were very prominent.
Yeah.
Roles, and there was always a dancing ballet of fairies, you know, carrying on
Right.
things. So
Wow.
he's drawing on that as well.
Yeah, this is really great fun, this piece.
Fun, yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot of
I
fun.
think it is. And
Yeah.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, David.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday,
Birthday,
David.
David.
Oh, you almost birthday,
Happy
right? It's
birthday,
on
David.
When is your actual birthday?
Tuesday.
So that, what is that, the 31st?
That's the 31st. That's
Okay.
yeah. That's when Ben and I are supposed to go out to dinner, which I hope I'll be able
Well, I
to
hope
do.
you're up to it.
Yes, you must go to bed early tonight.
May
Yeah.
fairies bring you good
have some
health.
tea. Ginger tea is good for stomach.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I
True.
actually I drink ginger tea every night. Actually,
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Are you still making mead out there, Drew?
No, no. Well, my family. So this is like my family's house. They make proper wine. There's a vineyard out back. So all the carboys and
really?
jugs are spoken for.
You were making mead in New York, I think.
In New York, yeah, I was to pass the time.
I can't remember how that stuff tasted. I'm sure I
It
have.
depends on how your fermentation goes.
Mm.
You know, it can taste like sweet crap, or it can taste really interesting and complex and kind of like a halfway between like a wine and a beer almost, cidery.
Mm.
Or it could taste like straight up vinegar, which I've made before. So
And that's not a miss brew or whatever. It's like with the
it is total messed up, you know.
And when
It depends what it is.
tastes
Some
like-
stuff gets in there that you don't want to if you're in a kitchen, you know. Sometimes I've left it for too long and it gets so, because if you leave, because the alcohol is made when the yeast eats the sugar. So if you leave it for too long or you have too much yeast in there, it becomes so boozy, like 20% alcohol,
Oh boy,
which is like a lot.
Does anybody know what the alcohol content would have been of that stuff Falstaff drinks, sack?
oh
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, it's like sherry, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, that is sherry. Yeah, that's right.
But
So it's
back
like-
then, was it a lot more strong or a lot weaker? Anybody know?
Well, it would be unregulated or not the regulations that we have now. So it could be either.
I would say, judging from the effect it has on Falstaff, it's probably pretty
Yes.
strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly not regulated.
Wow.
Anybody know if Alan Gilbert is still making beer? He used to make tons.
I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in quite a
he used
while.
to, you're right, he did used to. That I'd forgotten about that.
Is he still honking? You know, that group?
I think he's still.
This?
So I think he's still with the brass group. Yeah,
I heard them once. They're fun.
yeah, I bet they are. Yeah, I'd love to get Alan involved in a couple of these, but he's always busy, it seems, with his musical ensemble.
What's next on the agenda, David?
Well, I'm not going to do anything in February, more in February, because I've got the show to deal with, the Red
Okay.
Mill, and so in March I'm hoping to do the Shaw that I wanted to do before, which is Shaw's Strongmen, with a little Gilbert piece attached to that too, actually, and then I really would like to do this play that I'm just rereading now called The New Woman by Sidney Grundy. It's a very interesting, take on the new woman, a la, of the day, suffragettes and that sort of thing, or at least what led to the suffragette movement. But it's also quite amusing, and there's a delicious Lady Bracknell-like character in it, Paula.
Paula?
Aunt Winifred, I think it is. Anyway, so we'll see. I don't even know yet if it's even available online. So
It's on Project Gutenberg.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
I know, right?
That is exactly what we like.
I'll send it to you, David.
Yeah.
Oh, the British suffragettes were tough. I just learned today that they tried to blow up the coronation chair and the stone.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
And did a little
They were
damage.
pretty darn militant.
Yeah.
So it's not so surprising that a lot of them wound up in Holloway.
No, I guess
Although their
not.
treatment was pretty brutal, but
Yeah.
they were not. Well, it's even indicated in Shaw's play Press Cuttings that they were not exactly, little lambs going, votes for women.
Yeah.
But they were,
Well, the bomb they made, the more than one, they made these bombs out of nuts and bolts and nails that, it acted like shrapnel.
Yeah.
And just
that
sprayed
could be very
everywhere.
dangerous and went off very-
Yikes.
So they were pretty serious.
Yeah. So I mean,
Jeez.
it's not surprising that a lot of them got arrested.
No, guess not.
Not doing stuff like that because you could really hurt somebody.
Yeah, you could.
Although I suspect there were people who were more worried about the coronation chair than anything else.
Yeah, right. It doesn't have the reigning monarch doesn't have the history of the chair itself,
Right. That's
and is therefore less valuable.
Well, the chairs goes back centuries.
Right, exactly. It's
Yeah.
easier to get another monarch than to get another chair like that.
Yeah, true.
Uh,
Anybody hear how King Charles is doing lately?
I have not heard anything actually, but I'm not really keeping an ear that way.
Beg your pardon?
Well, he seems to be doing pretty well, actually. He's, been, I listened to his Christmas speech,
Oh,
Yeah.
and that was interesting. So,
Interesting. I mean, how was he?
well, the one thing that I think people really like about him is that he's so supportive of all the green issues.
Oh, yeah, well,
He always does, yeah, right.
He's always done that.
That's
But that's one thing that really has, I think,
really
captured
good, yeah.
people's attention now that he's in a position to make more noise about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I right, though? The king basically makes noise. He doesn't have any real power.
He does have some. I forget what they are, but there are certain things that can't happen without the monarch's signature.
Well, he
Oh.
asks the
Yeah.
PM to form a government. That's one thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't, basically, it's a figurehead kind of position, but still,
Mhm.
the influence that one can use there.
Did anybody read, I think it was New Yorker, it might have been Atlantic, a long piece about the last queen and how adept she was at presenting a queenly, appropriately queenly demeanor, not just to the population, but more to other world governments.
Yeah,
Anybody
Oh,
read
yeah.
that?
I haven't read it, but
I haven't read it, but
I that.
she certainly was that.
She certainly was that.
The sort of impassivity, she was not cold, but not connected to everything. And,
Yeah.
Is
Is this guy going to do that, or is he going to get more, present more emotionally connected to things? Just,
I think he's more emotional.
He may be.
Hmm.
Although she was, but she hit it. I mean,
yes, and I'm not sure the world needs another
watch the
emotional
series,
leader.
if you watch the series The Crown, it's quite fascinating.
Well, you think about it, when she was crowned, she was the Empress of India and she reigned over 25% of the population of the earth.
Right.
And the adjustments that she made over her very long reign, it was the end of empire, the beginning of the Commonwealth, the expectation that she be more human. She really made a lot of changes.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them forced on her, but
We need Angus in on this discussion.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm still wondering whether Scotland's going to decide to go solo.
Oh, I think they want to.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, some of them do.
I have a feeling it's probably a hotly debated issue, but
Yeah. However, if I were Scotland, I would not want to divorce myself from the British Army and Air Force and Navy. If you look at their geography, where
Yeah.
every
Right.
submarine on the
Yeah,
planet
they're here.
is
Oh, yeah.
wandering
I
around.
agree.
Yeah, good point.
It's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point.